3 Rogue Invitational, and we go from the Tower of Power to a seat at the bar as the CrossFit competition continues here on day 2 of action for the individual athletes. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with former Affiliate Cup champion Adrian Conway. And Adrian, this is a much different test than we saw last night in that long, grueling grind that was Texas Heavy.
It was a long, grueling grind. It was heavy. We're going to carry over the theme of heavy, but now it's going to be a high skill set in the log muscle up in a much shorter time domain. We're going to see some high power output here.
One of the 9 events is already in the book, so let's take a look at the overall standings after the results from Texas Heavy. And it's Jeff Adler who sits atop the overall leaderboard with 100 points as he beats Yella Hosta in the final mile of that test last night. Roman Krennikov sits in 3rd place, followed by Brent Fikowski and then Chandler Smith. Seat at the bar presented by Beyond the Whiteboard. 2 movements. We got the log muscle ups and then the heavy back squat.
Yeah, that's right. I love the coupling of this workout at Seat at the Bar. It's going to be 20 log muscle ups. The athletes are then going to transition to the rack where they're going to do 5 back squats at 375 pounds, back to the log muscle up for 15 reps, 5 more back squats. Then they'll finish with 10 log muscle ups and 5 back squats as they finish through the finish line.
First of 2 heats for the men. There will be 10 men on the field. Pat Vellner, Noah Olson, Jeff Adler, all men will be keeping an eye on here. Yonakoski, we saw him last night in Texas Heavy. He was struggling with what appeared to be a leg injury, was able to finish the event, but he is no longer in the competition. And for more on that, let's send it down to Kiki Dixon.
Lane 8, Ricky Garrard.
Guys, I was able to speak with Yonakoski last night, and he was able to get a preliminary check on his ankle. It doesn't look like there's any breaks that have happened, but with the events that were released, he knew that it would further aggravate the injury, and it was best to go ahead and pull himself from the competition, even though it's a difficult decision. The good news is he's going to stick around, hang out with the fans, cheer on his fellow competitors, and he wanted me to say thank you to everyone for their support.
Thank you, Kiki, and sad to hear about Yonakoski not competing, but glad he's going to remain here for the rest of the weekend. Getting ready to start the first of 2 heats for the men here in Seat at the Bar. Adrian, what do you got for keys here in this one?
Man, this event is going to be fast, but one of the keys is to control the down of the log muscle up. We've seen this implement last year now, and what we notice is that if athletes control the descend, they might touch their chest to the log before they roll under it. It helps them keep more of their hands on top of the log. And then, of course, with the reps there and the reps at the back squat, break early and break often. Meet yourself where you're at so you can finish fast and not just start fast and finish slow.
20 log muscle ups to start. As you take a look at Ricky Garrard. First competition back after that shoulder injury knocked him out of the game season. And Garrard is already halfway through this set, along with Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson.
Yeah, and to the naked eye, Sean, these are going to look a lot like traditional bar muscle-ups that we see within the affiliate setting. However, that log is 4 inches in diameter, much thicker, a very different surface with it being a wooden material. And what you'll notice that we see athletes going bare-skinned to the apparatus and not where we would commonly see them wearing gymnastics grips. And this allows the surface area of that log to not be even more of an obstacle than it already is by creating further separation between that and their grip. So as we see, Ricky Garrard making fast work of the first 20.
Garrard will be the first man back to the barbell for 5 back squats at 375 pounds. And Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson is getting set to join him along with Noah Olson.
Ricky making a slight work of that first rep. I got to say, he mentioned specifically he was excited to show his growth in the back squat and in the deadlift because due to his shoulder injury, he was able to spend more time developing his strength and power in his lower body.
Bailey Martin in the light blue shirt working his way back is Victor Hoffer as well. He was on the left side of your screen. As Ricky Garrard is done with his 5 reps, he will go back now to the log for 15 muscle ups. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson closing out his first set. Bailey Martin next to him in the light blue shirt, almost done as well.
And people will have a respect and an understanding for the athletes that can make quick transitions from that log to the back squat, as the back squat is listed at 375 pounds for these men. Nothing that is easy for most of them, to be certain, but most of the athletes have chosen to do all 5 unbroken within round 1.
Scoring ribbon on the left side of your screen. Athlete on top will be the leader, and then the number in the white box next to his name will indicate how many reps he has completed. 60 total reps here in this event. And KAR, in case you're wondering, that's for Bjorven Karl Gudmundsson, who now sits in 3rd place in this first of 2 heats for the men. Right side down in lane 10, that's Garrett Clark, who just closed out his first round of muscle-ups.
Garrett Clark, one of those athletes, Sean, with no individual experience at the CrossFit Games. So he's experiencing this large stage and in this moment very much for the first time, not just at the Rogue Invitational, but in any setting. So it's certainly a fast learning curve for someone like Garrett.
Ricky Garrard now done with his set of 15 muscle-ups. And now for his second set of 5 back squats at 375 pounds as he leads in this opening heat. Noah Olsen and Bjorven Karl Gudmundsson behind him in 2nd and 3rd.
What I like to see from Ricky, Sean, is that he took hardly any time walking under composure to that squat bar, but not wasting any seconds to eye it up or to get fixed or to adjust his belt too much. He spent about 3 seconds between the time he touched that platform to the time he got the bar off, and there was another easy 5 for Ricky Garrard, making his way back to start round 3.
And here comes Noah Olsen in 2nd place. Bjorven Karl Gudmundsson right behind him. Gudmundsson grabbing his belt as he gets to work on his second set of 5 back squats. Now Victor Hoffer on the left side in the black shirt, and here comes Bailey Martin in the middle of your screen in the light blue.
And what the viewers at home can see, especially from this overhead view, is that the speed of the squat from the bottom looks different for a lot of these athletes. Well, Noah hit a slight sticking point as he starts to stand through that midpoint. And that shows you he drives his knees back to recruit a stronger, more stable position to drive through the floor. He got through all 5 of those with no problem, but we can see that athletes' posture and their torso position can dictate their success on these back squats.
Ricky Garrard with just 3 reps remaining on this final set of 10 muscle-ups.
Sean, Ricky is no rookie, which means that he has the understanding that, yes, he might be leading this particular heat, but he's really got to battle the clock because there's a stable of 10 men out there watching his performance, and they're eyeing up every second the way he approaches it, and they're just wanting to best him by just enough.
It's the final rep on the muscle-ups for Ricky Garrard, and he is through, looking to set the time to beat and going back to the barbell for the final time. Lane 7 in the white, that's Will Morad, who's closing out his 2nd round of squats. And then on the left side in lane 2, Tudor Magda going back to the barbell for the 2nd time as well, as Garrard is in his 3rd and final set.
Ricky looking as steady as he did when he started this workout. Still a great pace from the bottom of his squat, no hitching, no pausing.
Noah Olsen on the right trying to hold off Victor Hoffer. And Ricky Garrard still has 1 rep remaining, it looks like. Took off early, 1 rep remaining for Ricky Garrard. And that'll do it. And Ricky Garrard will have the top time heading into the 2nd and final heat as he is across the finish line. Right around 6:21. We'll wait for his official time. But a great start here for Ricky Garrard on day 2.
What a performance there by Ricky, and what I really like to see there is that no rep completely threw him. Yet he was able to regroup himself within 15 seconds, get back to the bar, execute a final rep, and then finish through the finish line.
Now the battle for 2nd place, Victor Hoffer on the left side of your screen, and Bailey Martin in the light blue. And Hoffer got a no rep, and he's going to have to get 1 more in as Bailey Martin takes off. He's going to take 2nd. Hoffer is through. Here come Olsen and Gudmundsson. They are both across. Olsen getting in ahead of Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson. And we have less than 2 minutes remaining before we hit the time cap. Lane 9 is Travis Mayer on the right side of your screen. Looks to be the next man to finish. He has 1 rep remaining on the back squat. And he is done. So Travis Mayer is in 7th place in this heat. 3 men still left on the field. It's Tudor Magda in lane 2. Make that 4 men left on the field. Jason Hopper down in lane number 1. Tudor Magda in lane 2. Garrett Clark is still out there, as is Will Morad.
And Sean, one of the things you'll notice as Jason jumps up here to do his rep, he's using a much more violent kip. And as you do that, and what I mean, folks, if you're watching at home, is he opens his shoulder, extends his hip. He's using much more redirection underneath that log, and it's taking his hands from being on top. Most of the athletes that have had great success have been able to do it in more of a controlled, restricted action. You see Jason get over the top for another rep.
Will Morad is now done, and Will Morad will make his way across the finish line. We have 20 seconds to go before we hit the time cap.
We don't need to mention it too much, but I'll tell you what, their legs are already tired. They did a very heavy run last night, 2.5 miles. There was a lot of pounding, running on the pavement. These athletes had all night to recover, and some of this morning, but it's certainly something that is in the back of their mind, particularly for those that this 375 was a challenge for.
That'll do it for the first of 2 heats, and it's Ricky Garrard unofficially right around 6 minutes and 21 seconds.
Heck of a performance here by Ricky. He came out and paced it well out the gate and had a great finish. And I'll tell you what, to summarize this thing, it was elegantly approached by Ricky Garrard. Look at the smoothness in his body, the transition from under the log to on top of the log. We talked about how important it was to control the descend, and he had composure the entire time, even up until this point where he thought he had finished the entire event as his judge holds up the one finger, gave him a good signal, but then he calls him back. Now this can lead to tremendous confusion and frustration by the athlete, but Ricky quickly regroups himself, shows the killer mindset and instinct that he has throughout the years, and executes the rep to finish. This could have cost a less focused or a lesser capacity athlete 30 to 40 seconds, and it looks like it's going to cost him a total of 15 to 20. Great execution there by Ricky.
Ricky Garrard with the top time right around 6 minutes, 21 seconds. 1 heat in the books, 2nd heat for the men, and seat at the bar coming up next.